as foldables make their mark, Samsung is doing the most now, and I think they're doing it right. Um, there's a lot to like about the Z Flip 5. This is the fifth generation, and I've been telling people for the last two generations, don't jump straight to the big foldables. Go with this device because not a lot of people have the money to pay for these devices, nor do they want to probably. But this is more of this is an easier transaction for everyone, even myself. Going from a regular slab phone to this phone is the best way to do it. This is just the best. Now, I want to talk about this device. I've had this device for almost 2 weeks now, and I've been rotating amongst these three devices, and it's just been phenomenal. So this was the first of the Samsung Dual that I got here. I got the Flip 5 first, and I think the next day or so, my Fold 5 came in, and the Fold 5 has been phenomenal. But let me get my other folder. I'm not gonna leave you out, buddy. Let's just get you there, just for general purposes. Yeah. So the Z Flip 5 is a device that I was excited to get because of that cover display. As you can see, that cover display there. I made a video on the cover display. It's just a phenomenal thing to have this beautiful cover display here and be able to get all these applications on here. Now I do have, let me go ahead and say it. I do have Good Lock installed, and I've added the options to have any app on the display. You can tell that that's Good Lock. You just add Good Lock, and then you add, I think it's Multi-Star, and that's it. So if that's what you want to do, if you just want to have apps on the front, you just add Multi-Star. But Samsung's implementation of something that Motorola got right just a little too late. Motorola doesn't get the push in the U.S. unfortunately because they let Samsung come in and control the foldable game, and they shouldn't have. They should not have let Samsung come in and take charge of the folding game. They should not. This should have been something that Samsung had tackled and stayed on and had been or Motorola, I should say. Motorola should have stayed on it, tackled it, and the Razr should be the top selling smart flip phone to date. It should be the one that everyone's talking about, and they are not. They are talking about this device because Samsung has better marketing. They push their devices more, and they make customers believe they really should get it. You know, that's just what it is. Team Pixel. I love that. If you haven't seen the last series of that, that's hilarious. But Samsung has done a phenomenal job, and like I said, I've pushed for people to get this device instead of the bigger folding devices because it's an easier transition. And speaking of transitions, see how I'm on the cover display and I open right up and I'm right into the same application, and I can continue on if I just want more real estate. So the design of this device is what we know and love from Samsung's flip phones. It's just that it closes flat. Love the sound. Closes flat, but you still have the volume rocker, the power button that doubles as a fingerprint reader, and you have this big, beautiful display now, and you got your 5G antenna and SIM card over there, and then tons of microphones to do lots of recording with. This is just a beautiful design, and it's one, obviously we love the flex mode because we can do things with flex mode, and we can record videos of ourselves. You can do all that with these two devices as well, and even this one you can technically do it too. But the design of the device is just, it's great. It's very thin too. Like, I know it's a flip phone, but this is a very thin phone. It's a very thin phone, and it's a very sleek phone. It's recording with the S23 Ultra. I've been giving the S23 Ultra all the love lately. Hadn't been recording with my iPhones or my main camera. Just been giving this device some love because it definitely deserves it. So when it comes to the design, obviously that's subjective, but this to me is a beautiful design. I would have liked to seen, okay, so some people, I think someone asked me, should they have done a telephoto or something, adding something else to this. I don't know that this phone needs that. A wide angle lens and just a standard lens is perfectly fine for this device. I think it's totally fine with just having these two, because you don't really need telephoto. You can still use digital zoom, and it's actually fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and do. Let me open up the camera here just to show you. I'll zoom in on this right here. It goes all the way to 10 times zoom, and as I snap that photo, look at how well it looks. It reproduces the colors great. And even if I zoom on it, it gets really grainy because it's a zoom photo. But overall, that is a great photo just looking at it. For what it is, it's good. So they don't need a telephoto lens per se, because then, people already complain about the price of devices. It's going to jack the price up a little bit more. And then, the complaining will continue. And yes, I'm saying complaining because there are just groups of people who just they want this phone that costs $49 free and clear unlocked. It's just not going to happen. But I don't think they need to add another camera to this design. I think this design is great. Now, you saw me accidentally swipe over and activate the sidebar here. This is just something that Samsung's One UI has. Samsung products are feature packed. This isn't something that's new. They typically have way more features than you probably need, but it is a good thing. And that goes all the way down to their camera suite too, and I'll get to that next. But this phone has all the features of all the Samsung phones. Now, it doesn't have the pen suite, but it has everything else. Take away the pen support or the pen suite on the phones, and all the Samsung phones are the same, period. I want to pause. I want to open up a video here. Okay, so I just pulled up one of my car videos. I've got the display brightness at about 45%. I'm showing it to you in this orientation because you can sit it down like this and watch content, and it's phenomenal. But when you're watching, this is the only drawback I've found. Excuse me, pardon me. When using the Z Flip5, it's so long that when you pinch in like this, if you've got the right angle, then yeah, it's gonna look great. But if you have a video where it's not scaling right, it'll cut off a lot of it. But this just happens to be a wide angle video that I did, so I can fill the display without having those two ginormous black bars. That's just got to be probably one of the worst parts of having this, because if you don't pinch in, I get the full scale video, but it's better on this phone to pinch in and watch it like that. So let me show you what I mean. See if I can replicate it on, pardon me, man, throat. Let me open up, check that video out, and I'm going to go ahead and open the same video up on my Pixel Fold here. Let's see here. All right. All right, we'll test the speakers too. But for the Pixel Fold, this is how it looks. As you can see, the Pixel Fold gives a different orientation than if I pinch on this one. I have to gradually put it out in this video. This just happens to be a video that looks great because I recorded it in wide angle. I recorded the entire video in wide angle. Let me put the Pixel to, Pixel screens doesn't seem as vivid and bright, does it? That's crazy how different in brightness these screens are projecting the same video. Isn't that crazy? Wow. And it just goes to show that how bright. Let me see if the Samsung has scaled itself up a little bit. No, still at 50%. So then this is a good test here. I'm going to go ahead and put the Pixel up to 100%. And now the Pixel has that boost. Look at how bright and vivid the Pixel is. But if I scale up the Samsung, it's gonna really be. But that's not what this video is about. This is about the bars here on how watching content is gonna be on the Z Flip5. And so on a wide angle video like that, it's very nice that you can scale up and still get an enjoying video, because I recorded this video in wide angle. But when you don't, you have the black bars on the side, and that's kind of the only downside I've seen from watching content on here. Is just having to to do that. That's the only thing. Other than that, it's been great. Now, I want to show you some settings here because Samsung has the most options that I've seen in a lot of devices in the US for a camera suite. This is just phenomenal. Having pro video and then portrait video, shout out to LG, man. LG, again, another company that dropped the ball on great features and wasted all their money on marketing with these so-called celebrities, and they got all the money and we got put out of business. We didn't get any more great devices from LG. They were the first ones to implement portrait style video, if I remember. And Samsung has, again, taken something else from another company and capitalized on it and made it great for vloggers. Like you have companies advertising, you can buy certain cameras like mirrorless cameras and things like that and get portrait style video, but you could do it on your phone. Now phones have gotten, I mean, consider what I'm doing here. I'm recording with the S23 Ultra. Just no fancy video, just 4K 60 straight through. Now I also want to point out something. Have you guys noticed that the people like to talk about overheating and stuff like that? I have recorded videos 30 minutes or more with the S23 Ultra, no overheating. Anyway, Samsung's camera suite has been great. I'm not using Pro mode on the S23 Ultra as I record all these videos. I just turned on video and then turned on 4K 60. And this is something that is, and you see it's already set here, but this is the advantage of using a Samsung product for video, because the video quality is always sharp, vivid. Microphones are on point, especially on some windy times. Like you probably can't even hear that I have a fan. I bought a new Dyson fan. I still have my other one, but I had that other one for like almost 4.5 years. And you know, the original one I had, side note, the original Dyson I had was actually the one with this air conditioning unit, heating unit, and base fan. And so, yeah, so I upgraded to one of this, a regular fan, and it's the tall version. It's so beautiful. Love it. Anyway, it's pointing right at me, and Dyson it kicks out some noise sometimes. No blaze, but it still can sound like it. And I'm sure you guys cannot hear it because this phone has so many microphones on it to cancel sound. That video I was just playing, that video was recorded with the S23 Ultra, and it didn't pick up any of the wind just about. I record in the same area, and it's always windy over there. It's just windy where I live, and you know, it's just the thing. These microphones on these phones are great. Now, one disadvantage that I don't like about recording in 4K 60 when you're trying to do a vlog, you cannot get the cover display. You don't get the beautiful option of vlogging in 4K 60 with the cover display. So if you see here, boom, there's the S23 Ultra, and you have the option for a cover display, full screen now, which is pretty dope. You have the option for a cover display, but you don't get it with 4K 60. That's the only issue I have with that. You don't get it. 4K 60, it doesn't allow it. I guess it feels like it's going to pull too much heat, but 1080p 60, clearly it's working. Yeah. So for me, I think all the options of Samsung, and also another thing that they just haven't done yet is when you turn on 4K 60, it takes, look at the bottom of the screen there. It takes away your wide angle option. It just disables a lot of the functionality, which is fine, but Samsung has done, and yeah, I spent some time on the cameras because that's important to me. And in this social media age, I remember people saying things like, oh, the cameras don't matter to me. That's a rare person that the cameras don't matter to you. You don't have to be a content creator or anything like that for cameras not to matter, or to matter or so. You just, our world is built on taking photos and getting memories with our family at this point. Social media has taken off so much. Everybody puts their entire business online. So if you're gonna tell everybody your business, your personal business, you might as well have a good camera to do it. It's just, and right now, all cameras are pretty much capable of taking photos and videos. Whether they do it at the same level or quality is another issue or story. But everybody puts, if I wanted to find out something about somebody, all I have to do is go to their social media feed. I can get straight to them and tell you exactly what they did Thursday, Friday, Saturday, everything. Now, just because I don't use social media like that, I'm not knocking people who do. But if you're going to do it, you might as well have a phenomenal camera. And these set of cameras, like all the cameras I show sometimes on the channel, are capable of doing that. And it's just going to give you the best quality. You want someone to see that pimple on your leg? Use the right camera and they will see it. And that's pretty much all phones today when it comes to social media. So Samsung, in my opinion, has one of the best sets of cameras for video quality. Now, I used to do a lot of imports, and some would call me a person who just really loves imports. A lot of people are shocked, and because when I was doing the imports, people weren't into them. But I knew how great imports were. Imports meaning phones like Xiaomi and certain phones you just couldn't get in the US, but I would get them over here. Back then, they cost a lot less. They still kind of cost less now, just at a different scale. Example, this phone's $1,100-$1,200. The imported version will cost like $1,000. Yeah. So I did a lot of imports back in the day, and I kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and people watched, people were intrigued. They just talked about, oh, it might not work on the network. And those were the conversations back then. Now people are starting to tell me, you should check out these imports. You should check out these Xiaomi. I'm thinking, I've stepped away from that for a number of reasons. And I won't get into that, but I'm not reviewing any imports at the moment for a reason. I'm not messing with imports because I live here and it's difficult sometimes to tell you about something. I still do some, but most of them will work on at least T-Mobile now. But I'm not, it's not a fancy story. I'm not willing to spend basically almost the same amount of money that I'm spending on phones in the US, like this phone, and have to go through a third-party seller if I have an issue. The support just won't be the same. Warranties and things like that. If I break it, I almost guarantee I have to, getting insurance on it. I'd have to get insurance through a third party. That's the skinny of it. I'm not willing to spend $1,200, $1,000, $800, sometimes even $500 on phones that just, if they're done, they're done. And like I said, I do review some. I have new phones that come in all the time from companies, and I'll be checking this one out if you haven't already seen me post on social media. If I have, it's still brand new in the box. I'm going to post a video on this. I do a lot of Yumi Digi phones because their phones are good quality. They don't cost a lot, but you can actually use them on T-Mobile and some other carriers in the US. I don't buy these, though, most of the time. They send them out to me. And that's just what it is. Anyway, the design of the device, the features, options, screen, cameras, software. Next is a quick question, a quick statement about battery life. Here's where you would think that this phone would not have good battery life because it has a same 3700 milliamp hour battery from the previous generation. They could have done something more. They chose not to. But the good thing for us is that I guess the combination that we have inside, the processing power, they put a bigger screen on there, but at the same time, I'm still getting phenomenal battery life. This thing goes all day, and it doesn't die on me within the first 24 hours, and that's the most important part. Battery life is great, simply put. So the performance on here is what we know it to be. The performance is more along the lines of Samsung's heavy skin on top of Android is working for them. It's working for them, and I don't foresee Samsung failing at the performance of their devices. I just think that it might be time for. I'll move on. Samsung's products perform well. I'll leave it at that. They perform well. One UI is set up great. It's a skin overlaying Android stock OS, and it's great. Now, Samsung should do something different. I'll say that. But the performance of the devices are great. Not having any issues with it. You're not going to have too many failures when it comes to Samsung's products. They just know how to get it done. They're staying within a small window, and that's what they're going to do. What the heck? Oh, look at that. Watching Jay Will installing the Wise Tell. Shout out to my man. What are the odds? Things like that just happen. So, there's a lot to like about this device, but the last thing I want to talk about is what people don't like is the price. The price of this device is where people really have an issue. They feel like it's overpriced. And I'm going to go ahead and go to Samsung's website here. Now, while Samsung does have a ton of trade-in deals, some people still feel like this device is overpriced. The 512 is now, which is what this is. Initially, if you pre-order, you got the 512 at a discounted price. And then they had ginormous trade-in values on everything. So the 512 is 1120, and the 256 gig is $999. Now, they actually did a lot of people a favor. They took away the 128 gig and just bumped the price over. That's all they did. So taking away that option was a good thing. Now, here's my version that I have here, and you have all these different colors that you can get. That mustard looking color is called yellow, but it actually looks like it'll be fire. Now, we have a green one and we have a blue one. That video is already up. And these are the standard colors down here that you could get. I didn't want to go with any of these this year, but yeah. So some people still feel like the price is overpriced, but I don't know how you could say this. I mean, I respect your opinion, but I don't think the phone is overpriced at all, especially because regular slabs can't do that, and they can't store away in your pocket. And it's easy. They don't look as good. This phone matches the battery. And then furthermore, you can pop open this camera right here and shoot a video. Boom, right there. My Dyson's over here. I would show my Dyson, but it's kind of, And you can control by doing hand gestures. So you can go photo, you can go portrait. Very nice. You got your settings here, full. You can control all of this from up here. And this is how it is. You can do a hand gesture like that, and it'll take. It's not pointing at me, but yeah. But you can control the camera from out there, and there's just things that you can do on here. The flex mode in itself, being able to everyone has been trying to take a photo of themselves with a slab device. All these phones can prop up and do it. They all can. They can prop up and take photos. Even this one technically can prop up and take a photo. You just have to do it like that. Yeah, but they can all prop up. They all prop up. And they all can produce something good quality for you. So, man, only thing I can tell you is that if you're upset about the price, you're in the wrong lane. You have to stay in a different lane right now. And I think this phone is totally worth $999 for a 256 gig. Do I want to pay that? No. Did I want to pay, for the prices that I'm paying for some of these phones? Of course not, man. But the fact of the matter is, this phone is, of all these phones, this phone is the flip phone, the folding phone that's actually worth it. When you think about it, this one was $2,000. This one starts at $1,800, but it costs $2,000 for this model. This thing came out at an excruciating price. But I ended up getting one later on for $250 brand new. And that's this one, which I will not give that up at all. But this phone coming in current day at $1,000, folks, this phone is phenomenal. This is a great phone, and it's totally worth $1,000 to me at a starting price. And if you have an old phone laying around, they'll give you some money for it. Samsung even takes trade-ins on their watches and gives Samsung, to be clear, has the best trade-ins overall at a steady pace. Some companies will do a trade-in and then they'll drop it way down and you don't have a good trade-in deal anymore. Even though you didn't catch the boosted trade-in values for this phone on launch, where they were giving like $900 for a Z Flip 4, you still can get a $600 trade-in. That's still pretty good for a phone that you want to get rid of and get the latest and greatest. So a lot of people got this phone for $99, $100, $200, depending on what they traded in. It's a phenomenal deal. Phenomenal deal. I don't think this phone is overpriced. That's just me. But who am I? I'm just some dude that buys a whole bunch of stuff and posts his opinion online, and they call it content creating and reviewing. It's your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed. This phone is crazy. And if you didn't buy it, there's a link down below. You can hit that link. There's tons of links down below. You can get it, and you will get some kind of trade-in credit if you decide to trade in, or you just buy the device if you don't want to trade in anything. And I guarantee you, coming from a slab device, and quick side note to the people who traded in their S23 Ultra for this device. While I personally wouldn't do it, I understand why some people might want to do it. This is much smaller and more compact, and it pretty much does everything the S23 Ultra does to a certain extent. Like, you've got all the same software minus the S Pen suite, and you've got a different body, and you're missing some cameras, but overall, I can see why you'd want to fold away and get a compact version of a Samsung device if you can get one. So this is your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed. Long discussion, but it was a discussion that needed to happen. This phone is great. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.